Hey everyone, I'm Nicole with Guiding Echoes, the channel that encourages you to discover the wisdom of your soul. And in today's video, we are discussing the dark side of psychic readings. Now, I am so excited about this video because I actually went to the Guiding Echoes community. I asked you guys, what are some of the potential dark sides of psychic readings? And you gave me some phenomenal answers, and we are going to address those answers, those bullet points in today's video. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to clarify what I mean by the word psychic. I really kind of mean intuitive. So I'm not speaking about mediumship in this video. We're talking about psychic readings, which means intuitive readings are really fortune telling. So whether that is someone who is doing a reading through pure intuition, through tarot, through astrology, this falls in alignment with those type of readings, okay? Now let's go ahead and dive in and see what wonderful tidbits of knowledge and wisdom our community gave us regarding the dark side of psychic readings. First on the list is hearing a truth that you may not be able to cope with. Ladies and gentlemen, this happens a lot. I cannot tell you how often people come to me asking about something that is of vital importance to them, whether it's a relationship, a goal that they've set for themselves, or perhaps they're in dire straits and they're facing foreclosure. There's something heavy happening in their lives. And so when that happens, people come to me because they want to hear that a miracle is on its way. They want to hear that somehow everything's going to work out in their favor. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. And let's talk about why. People often come to me and to other psychics when they're at the end of their rope. And what that means is that the energy of the situation has been building up for quite some time. Now, I want you to think about how energy works. I want you to think about a mountain that is covered in snow. And on the very top of that mountain is a very small rock. There's nothing special about it. It's just a rock. And something happens to shake this rock free, and it starts rolling down the mountain. Well, as it does that, it begins to roll quickly, and with it, it gathers snow, right? So as it's rolling, there's all this snow that starts to collect on the rock. And as it's going down and down and down, it's gaining up speed, it's picking up more snow, it's becoming bigger, it's becoming huge, and then finally it gets to the end of the mountain, and what does it do? Probably keeps going until it crashes into something because it's built up that much momentum. That is the same thing energy does. So when we initially start with a problem or a project or whatever it is, it usually starts out as this small possibility, right? And then depending on the actions that we take and the thoughts that we think and the words that we speak, that little pebble begins to roll down a hill and it begins to collect energy, right? So the energy begins to build. So what happens essentially is after that intention, after that project, after that idea, after that topic, whatever it is, has built up enough energy to cause someone to worry, that's when they come to me. And that's usually the point where there's so much energy on this thing that it can't be stopped. Imagine if this huge ball of snow was coming down that mountain and you tried to stand in front of it with your arms wide like this and you wanted to stop it. What do you think would happen? If it's big and if it's fast, it's going to knock you down, right? There's no stopping it. You may slow it down, but you're going to get hurt in the process. That's how different topics and situations in life can be. Once something has built up momentum, and if it's something we don't like and it's something that we're trying to stop, we may be able to get in the way of it, but it's going to cost something. It's like if we've been in a relationship for a long time and we realized at the beginning that there were some red flags, but we continued to go along with it anyway. By the time we gain the courage to walk away from it, there's probably going to be some sincere pain there, right? Because we spent years investing our times into this relationship. And so when we finally walk away, it hurts. There's a cost to that. There's some pain there. So it's not an easy getaway. So a lot of times what will happen is people come to me in dire straits. So they want to know if they can prevent their foreclosure, if they can save their marriage, if they can save their relationship, if their health is going to get better. But this is after years of neglecting to make payments. This is after years of neglecting their spouse. This is after years of neglecting their health. So there's no quick turnaround. As a psychic, I tune into these energies and I'm able to feel into the results and sometimes see the results based on what your current path is and how the energy is currently flowing. And sometimes the outcome isn't good. It isn't the news that you want to hear. That said, when that happens, obviously people are disappointed. But what I can also do, and what most psychics and tarot readers and astrologers will do, is they'll tune back into that question and we'll try to find an out. And an out is almost like a hidden doorway in your situation. So if we know that the way that your path is currently going leads to a result that you don't like, we'll ask the question of how can we change that result? And sometimes the result can't change. Let me be clear about that. Sometimes there is no changing the result, but there is a way that you can maybe get to the result faster if that's necessary, or there's a way that you can kind of limit the damage that this thing will cost you. So you might still lose your house, but maybe you'll be able to get into another place. You may still lose the relationship, but maybe you can get out soon enough and get out in a way where it doesn't cost you as much. You know, there's ways to just, there's ways to bring down the damage, to limit the damage. So again, in situations where we can't stop the energy, we might be able to at least smooth it out. Number 2 on the list is that they are addicting. How many of you can testify to that? Hey, you know what? All honesty, this girl right here, I love getting me some psychic readings. I am polyamorous when it comes to psychics too. I'm not loyal to any one person. I love going to different psychics. I like going to different astrologers because everyone has a different style and it is just absolutely fascinating to me. And what I've learned is that when I go to different psychics and astrologers and whatnot, they all seem to have a different piece of the puzzle. That said, yeah, they can be addicting, especially if you're fixated on a specific outcome. Now, I recently had a client who, I gotta be honest, I'm really concerned. I was really concerned about her. So she was completely convinced that her son was in a relationship with a woman who was a dark witch. And so she kept going to all these different psychics and all these different, they're witches, different witches. She was going to different psychics and different witches because she was convinced that her son was with someone who had put a spell over him. And she came to this conclusion because when her son moved away to move in with this woman, he wanted to spend less time with his mom. He was making his new girlfriend his priority. And they were talking about getting married. They were talking about moving into another state. And this was very hurtful to the mom. Like, she didn't want to lose her son. She came to me and she asked for a reading. And as I tuned into this situation, I was not picking up on the fact that this woman was a dark witch. I was actually tuning into energies that suggested she's actually very sweet. She's actually very kind. And this is the type of woman that any mom would want her son to be with because she felt very caring and nurturing. And before some of you are like, maybe she had a glamour on, maybe that was the deception. Let me just stop you by saying I am very good at reading people's intentions, even if they have a glamour. People don't get past me anymore. So when I was tuning into that energy and I was telling her, like, I'm actually picking up that this woman's very sweet. And she's like, well, she's always been very sweet to me, but I don't trust her. And she started going on about all the reasons she didn't trust her. And honestly, it didn't make sense to me. But then there was another key component that she told me, how she started going to this one psychic, and this psychic started warning her about her son's girlfriend. And from there, this woman was continually going to other psychics and really wanted to hear from all of us that this woman was bad for her son. And she actually became really irritated with me when I gave her a different opinion. And when I told her, you know, if you back off from your son, because it seems like you're being controlling, if you back off from him, he may start visiting you more. But right now, from his view and from the girlfriend's view, you're being intrusive. She didn't like that at all. So she was also telling me how she was going to different witches and, you know, people that do Reiki and different magic practitioners, basically, so that they would cast spells and they would send energy to break this couple up. I mean, it was honestly, it was just horrible, horrible, horrible. At the end of the reading, I had to tell this woman that while I felt for her, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to give her the answer she wanted to hear, I couldn't read for her anymore. That's an example of how psychic readings can be addictive, because you're trying to get answers, right? You're trying to get answers. You're working faithfully, and you will spend any amount of money or time to get a result or answer that you want. Number 3 is getting disappointed after what they tell you never happens. Now, we've all been there, right? It can be so disappointing and so discouraging when a psychic or intuitive or even a good friend tells us, absolutely, the situation's going to go the way that you want. Of course, you're going to become successful at your business. And yeah, your soulmate's right around the corner. There's things that we look forward to in life. And when a psychic or intuitive tells us that what we want is coming to us or it's around the corner, we first of all get really excited, but then we can become really discouraged when it turns out that that's not happening. So let's talk about why that happens. First of all, it's important to remember that our future is not written in stone. We all have free will. We all have choices that we make in this life. And I believe that a lot of times when we are going after something we want in life, when someone tells us, yeah, you're absolutely going to get that, you're going to get this thing, like, don't worry about it, there's this interesting thing that happens. And it's that people sometimes change their path and they stop working so hard for what they were going after because someone just told them that it's going to work out for them. It's almost like this. Let's say you're a student and you go to a psychic and you ask if you're going to pass a test. Maybe you're really concerned about your finals. And so the psychic tells you, yeah, actually it does look like this is a go. It looks like you're gonna ace your finals. No big deal. It's gonna be great. So you think to yourself like, wow, that's phenomenal. And you get out of the reading, you're kind of like, I don't need to study for this. Like, she said I'm gonna ace it. Like, it's fine. Well, you just changed your path. You just changed the course, because when you went to the psychic asking that question, you were studying. You were studying. You were doing everything you could to take the best notes, to figure out what type of knowledge you needed. You were thinking about what type of questions might be on that test. And when the psychic told you, yeah, you're going to ace it, it's because you were working at it. So you were on the path, you were on the road to acing it. But then you stopped studying. You changed your course. So then when you go take your finals and you take these tests and you fail, you get upset and you're like, oh, she said I was going to ace. She said I was going to ace this. She said it was no big deal. Well, yeah, that's how it was supposed to go, but you changed the course, you know? So that's something that can happen. The second thing that can happen is people that play a role in this outcome have free will. So if you're asking about a promotion, you may very well be on the right track to that. But again, with your boss, with your coworkers, with everyone involved in that business, all having free will, all having their own agendas, someone could end up doing something that they're not really supposed to do. And then lo and behold, you don't get that promotion after all, because one day the boss woke up and decided he was going to give that position to his cousin's son, or, you know, whatever happened. So that's another thing to keep in mind too, is that people have free will. So again, what a psychic does, what we do is we tune into the most probable outcome based on your current path, but it's also the most probable outcome based on what everyone else is doing at the time too. And so if just one person steps out of line, depending on what you're asking about, of course, it can really throw everything off. Doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get the promotion, or that you won't ace the test, or that you won't have what it is that you're asking for. Usually in these situations, what happens is that it just gets prolonged. All of this stuff is still coming to you. It's just the timeline has changed. The other thing to keep in mind is that the law of attraction is a real thing. Self-sabotage is a real thing. Neuroplasticity is a real thing. And if we're going after something that we don't fully believe that we deserve, when a psychic tells us that it's coming, we may get excited, but we can also get really scared. And if we get really scared, what happens? We might start changing our behavior. We might start thinking toxic thoughts like, oh, this is never going to work out. And who am I to think I'm worthy of this thing? We start sabotaging ourselves because this idea that we're going to get what we want, that we're going to get this thing we've been going after, it intimidates us a little bit, right? It scares us. And when that happens, we kind of talk ourselves out of it. We start putting out different thoughts and intentions into the universe, and the universe is like, oh, okay, well, you don't want this after all because we were about to give it to you. We even sent a psychic to tell you you're going to get this thing, but if you changed your mind, all right, course correction, I guess. You are always, always, always creating your outcomes based on your behaviors, your actions, and what you think and what you speak out into the universe. What you say in your prayers, what you visualize in your mind absolutely matters. Number 4 is that you go to the wrong type of psychic. This is extremely important. Let's say what you want is a mediumship reading, meaning that you want to connect with someone on the other side. Or maybe you want an angel reading. You want to connect with your angels and guides and see what messages they have for you. Not all psychics have these abilities. Some psychics are astrologers, and so that's all that they work with. And they might be intuitive to a point, but for the most part, they're good at reading charts. They're good at understanding the alignment of the stars. There's also tarot card readers. Most tarot card readers do have the ability to tap into the spirit world, but maybe not to the extent that you need. Not all tarot card readers are able to conduct mediumship readings because that's not their skill. They read cards. They don't talk to the dead. So when you go to a psychic for a reading, you need to know what type of reading you want, right? Is it that you want to connect with deceased loved ones? Do you want to know what's in your future? Like, what is the intention there? And 2, make sure that you're going to the right type of psychic. And this is easy to do. You can always just shoot them an email, check out their website if they have one. And usually on their websites, they'll discuss what it is that they do. But I would highly advise against ordering a reading with a psychic or going to a psychic if you don't know what type of readings they offer and if they're going to deliver the type of reading you need. Number 5 on the list is about language, and the way that this community member phrased it was, I think language would be a hurdle because you're trying to put into words what someone is communicating spiritually. So she's referring to a psychic mediumship reading where someone is connecting with the other side. But this can also happen in a regular psychic reading. So let me explain. Sometimes when I'm tuning into a person and the energies around them, I will feel all of these different emotions. Like I have these different impressions. I get these different senses. And what can be frustrating is that sometimes there is no specific word or phrase for what I'm feeling. And I have noticed that I have this innate capacity to feel more than one emotion at once, which is supposed to be impossible, but somehow I can do that. And I don't do it on purpose. So when I am trying to explain to someone what it is that I'm feeling, it can be difficult because it's not always easy to describe a feeling. It's not always easy to describe an impression. So I do the best that I can to use my limited vocabulary to explain what it is that I'm sensing. And this can be frustrating, not just for me, of course, but also for the person I'm reading for, because when you're dealing with impressions and feelings, those can be elusive, and what I'm feeling and how I'm describing it may not resonate with my client because maybe she's never had those feelings before, or the way I'm describing it just doesn't resonate with her. So that can be frustrating too. Every once in a while, there are visions that will pop into my head and I just get little glimpses of them. So along with the visions tied with the clairsentience that I'm getting, and maybe a word pops in here or there, that's something that can be difficult to explain too, because it's this fragmented message. It's all these puzzle pieces that you're trying to put together to incorporate one message. So I hope that you found this reading helpful. If you would like to join this discussion, please do tell us what you think the dark side of psychic readings are. You can put that in the comment section down below. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I would like to welcome you to the Guiding Echoes community, and I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here on this channel, we love to talk about consciousness, angels, guides, psychics, all that good stuff. And if that's up your alley, you have come to the right place. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that little bell icon so you can be notified when I release new videos in the future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.